Hey, this is James Rivera from Helstar, and you're listening to Metal Wani. You're trapped in this wicked nest. Hey there, it's James Rivera.
Mr. James Rivera, how are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How's the day going on so far?
Oh, good, good. Just hanging out, man, and yeah, just relaxing today, taking it easy.
That's great. So, because I need to congratulate you for the successful release of the new album, The Wicked Nest. So, how
Oh,
is the
yes.
feeling so far? I mean, you've heard it all, fans, critics, everybody's responded. So, how has been the journey so far?
Well, it's been great. Most of the responses have all evolved around. Seems to me like the reaction has been that this is the best album since Nosferatu, and that
Hmm.
it stands tall next to that album. So that means that this album brought back many of the old fans like we thought it would, and it kept all the new fans. So that was the whole concept behind this Wicked Nest was trying to create the perfect balance of a record for Hellstar fans. Not so much in general, just the whole metal community, the whole metal world as well, but
Hmm.
for the Hellstar fans, we knew that this was the perfect album. And if the Hellstar fans love it, we figured that just your average, everyday Joe Schmo metalheads would love it. So it's
Absolutely.
got a great reaction to it so far.
That's wonderful. So while you've been traversing through all the response from the fans, there must have been some of the best responses where you felt where you actually didn't expect, but it came as a surprise. So were there any such incidents which you came across from past few months?
What's that?
Were there any incidents which you came across from past few months, some sort of a response which you didn't expect from fans?
Well, it kind of was expected, but I mean, we didn't expect it to be, I didn't expect it to be that well perceived. I mean, some people just wouldn't let up about the album. They just, were just like, dude, this is the best thing you guys have ever done. I mean,
Wow.
so yeah, we've had a few of those where some people said that it's the best album we've ever done. Most of the reaction has been, man, this is as good as Nosferatu. You haven't guys have written a great album since Nosferatu like this, but we've had a few people that just say, dude, this is the best album you guys have ever done, period. And I'm like,
That's
wow.
great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful because I read many reviews and everybody rated this as one of the best power thrash albums of the year. So, in that perspective, how special is this album to you?
Well, I mean, it has a lot of speciality to us because we feel that with this album that we have reached the plateau of where we need to be from here on out
Okay.
musically. I think that you know we found the right elements to you don't ever use the words, oh, if we just keep doing this album over and over again, we're going to stay, we're going to continue to grow. And but in a sense, um once you find a chemistry and a certain format of what the fans really, really like.
Right.
If you think about it, any band that has made it very successful stuck to a certain formula with each album, so they
Absolutely.
never steered they never steered away too far from. If you take a band like Iron Maiden, they never steered away too far from. By the time they got to Somewhere in Time, there was not much of a difference from the
True.
very first Iron Maiden album
True.
musically. It's not like you're lame and you can't think of anything new. It's just what needs to be written. You don't,
Absolutely.
to the point where you can overwrite, and that does you no good. So you know where you need to keep all the elements in order for each album to be as good as the last, if not better, and then you stay on a continually climb. It's
Right.
when you start steering away too much from your formula is when you start going, those first four albums were great, but after that I kind of lost interest. They started, that's when a
Right.
band loses their magic. And really, I think the whole point of it is that with this album, if we keep this same magic for the next few albums, we could see a much more success much quicker than we really expected. Although
That's
we've been at it
fantastic.
for so long, but I mean, I think that we just never had put out the right album, and I think this is the right album now.
That's fantastic. So, would it be safe to say that it's the culmination of everything Helstar has done till date, and this is basically the end product, what you guys are up to?
Exactly. Exactly. Like in other words, if our lives were to end tomorrow, this would be, at least we got the album out that was the combination of everything we've ever done.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's the final climax of where we
Now,
need to be, heaviness, darkness, technical skills again.
right.
And if we just get this right, this is like the perfect smoothie. We found our smoothie, and now we can start our own Starbucks.
That's fantastic. Now, the way we are discussing, I don't seem to figure out that I need to ask you a song from this album which was technically strongest, but still I'll shoot this question. So, from the Wickedness, how many songs you felt were technically more strong?
Well, if you listen to, I think I would say with the song "Wicked Nest" and more Morgana Sabib
Hmm.
and probably "Eternal Black" to me are the most technical songs on the record. They're the ones that have, to me, they're the ones that have a lot of the old Nosferatu classic, neoclassical technical side of Hellstar that made us famous
Right.
years ago. Kind of band we were. And unfortunately, that technical skill was a little over people's heads, I think, in '88 and '89. So
Hmm.
it kind of backfired on us. But there were the cult followings that said, "Oh, but that's what made you guys stand out above the rest of the
Absolutely.
bands. You were, just above average musicians." And so I think with those three songs, we you can really hear how we went back to
Hmm.
going, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Show off a little bit. Do some more doodling when you need to.
Right. That's fantastic. Now, I'm sure the recording sessions for the album would have been all beer and skills. So, can you tell us more about the process? What sort of an approach you took this time?
Well, this time we actually took a lot of time with this record. Because, I'm busy a lot aside of Hellstar. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm always doing something. So, with this album, and then everybody has advanced themselves to investing into home studios now, and
Right.
so we got to really spend a lot of time writing out this album without just being in a studio and go, okay, you got 6 weeks to do your record, do it, finish it, and then it's such a it's such an artist killer when you have
Right.
to live in those conditions. In this way, we took a year and a half with this record, and so bits and pieces were written here and there, and then we always have this one period in our lives, when we get ready to know that the release date is what the label's looking to release it on this date, which
Right.
means we have to have it turned in by this date. So then you do finally get to the point where it's crunch time.
Hmm.
And that's when you really start going, okay, guys, now we really have to tighten this thing up. But we did take a lot of time with this record. And it was kind of the different approach that we've ever done, and all of it was recorded at home except for the vocals and the mixing. So
Awesome.
the drums were done in Mikey's home studio. All guitars were done in Larry and Rob's home studios, and the vocals were done in the big studio, like always. And that's just because that's where our producer is, or both of our producers that work along with
Right. Right.
me, mainly on the vocals. And just you got to have the big ambient room, and it's
Absolutely.
just the right. And then the mixing, of course, was done at the big studio, and so this was a different approach that we've ever done, and it worked fine. It worked killer because we had plenty of time to go over different riffs, different ideas, different melodies, and then by the time I got into the studio, I had just freshly come off the tour from singing for Vicious Rumors and all that. And so, I
Hmm.
mean, I was wide open. So that was a different approach for me to just come right home from Europe from doing almost, not all together, but 3 months of shows.
Right.
I mean, 3 months of touring, and then bam, right into the studio, like only had a few days off. And then I some, for if that had been me in the past, and it might have been subconsciously, I would have been like, oh no, I need a month off to rest my voice. You know what I mean? And
Right,
there's no way and you want me to record a record? I've been singing for 3 months.
right.
Well, in this case, it worked the opposite because what it was I was full throttle. So, I was still wide open from all that singing that it made it much easier in the
Easier,
studio.
right.
So now I think I have a different approach now. Next time I do the next record, I think I'm gonna, even if I don't have Helstar out there, I'm gonna book me a week of tribute shows or something, and then and then go straight into the studio, and then go, yeah, this is the better way to do it.
Fantastic. Now, from the lyrical point of view, what sort of different areas you felt like exploring this time? Because you've been in the business for like 32 years. So every
Yeah.
time for every album you guys come up with, of course, you don't want to stick to the basics and write the same thing again and again. So what approach did you guys take this time?
Well, we basically just, I mean, it's like with every album we do. We don't know where we get it from, but there's a certain magic that this band has, and
Right.
it's just, I think what the best approach that we have is it's not really even a sort of an approach. It's the idea that we want to write what we like. We
Mm-hmm.
don't want to think about it too much.
Okay.
We write just basically what we think sounds killer. We're just going to put out. Larry's going to write a riff, and he's not going to sit there and go, "Oh, it sounds too much like maybe something we did on Distant Thunder," or "It sounds too much like this some other band we heard." He's going to write it, and he's going to finish the song, and he's going to go, "Man, I like all these parts." Now later on, will then he pick it and go, "What's odd is that part reminds me of something," and then he'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're right." But see, we don't sit there and go, "Oh, well then we should change it," because no, we just go, oh, "Fuck it, sounds like Judas Priest." Oh well, at least it sounds like a band that's killer, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no such thing as originality these days,
True.
anyways. That I mean,
Agree with that.
there hasn't been anything since the Beatles. So I mean, everybody it takes ideas from other ideas, and that's just the way it always has been. And as long as you're not completely copying the damn song, But I mean,
Right.
but we do write subconsciously, so we don't think too much about what we're doing. We just feel that when something is complete as a song, and maybe the only thing that aren't in there yet are the vocals, but the melody is locked in, and the idea, it's like, oh, this is going to be killer. Then
Right.
later on, we will go back and say, wow, dude, you know what? That riff is totally Tyrannicide. And then Larry will be like, dude, you're right. And it's a riff that he wrote himself 20 something years
Years
ago, but
ago.
didn't even realize it when he was throwing it into the new song. Because
Right.
you get so wrapped up in the idea that, hey, it's a new song. Without even knowing it, you're ripping off from your own self. But hey, that's okay. you know?
Fantastic. Now, being in this business for 32 years, 3 long decades, you would have seen generation of metal fans attending your shows. So, how far do you think metal has come in these 3 decades?
Well, it's come a lot further. I tell you that. At one point, I almost thought there was no hope for the whole metal world, and I
Of
thought, well, what
course.
the hell am I gonna do? And I thought, well, you know what, the hell with it. Let's go to the damn, go to one of those formal stores, and they put tuxedos on sale all the time, and go get me a damn tuxedo and hit Vegas and do Frank Sinatra and Tom Jones covers. What the hell? So, but, because for one thing, that I know one thing for a fact when it comes to me personally,
Hmm.
if metal was to be completely taken away from the world, it actually became a crime to perform heavy metal, and we all got in some weird science fiction movie type thing. We were all jailed for even listening to it, and it was forbidden from the world.
Uh-huh.
And I had to survive because music is the only thing I know. I know it wouldn't be what they would want me to conform to as far as what they consider the big selling thing of today.
Right.
I would totally just go another whole direction and go, yeah, all right, well, it's Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom Jones from here on out. You
Fantastic.
know what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't go become Korn and all those guys. You better need to conform into what we want to sell. No, I wouldn't do it. So I mean, I think that one thing I've noticed is that it's a whole new generation of heavy metal coming
True.
back. It's like the 80's again, and all these young kids that are totally into it again, and it's like it's crazy that and then the funny thing is the younger they are, the older school metal that they're into.
Absolutely.
So,
That seems to be a
you know,
trend, isn't it?
it's a trend now, and that's a nice trend to know. So it's kind of like, well, man, that's killer because we played some shows in Southern California, and we did, a show in Orange County, which Orange County, LA is kind of all the same. And we did a show there,
Hmm.
and there was all these little, I'd say, I don't know, maybe they had to be. I know they had to be at least 21 because it was a show that was 21 and over. But
Uh-huh.
to me, when you look at someone 21, they still look like a kid in high school, anyways.
Right.
And so there was just this mass of these, they might have barely been 21 for all I know, but it was just all of them were wearing the Burning Star T-shirt.
Okay.
The very first Helstar. I mean, come on. You would think that you guys would at least be into Glory of Chaos or something, but no. And then these kids would not shut up about Burning Star because we were doing this year. We're doing when we're doing our live shows. We are doing a special thing where we're doing a salute to the 30-year anniversary of the release of Burning Star,
Okay.
because this marks 30 years that the album came out in
Absolutely right. Yeah.
so
84.
yeah, and so we're doing is that everybody's getting this special show where we're going out and we're playing a full hour of well, so far we've been doing 5 new songs from the new album. Then we're doing so many from Glory, and then we do some from King of Hell, and then one from each of the classic albums,
Right.
and then we off, and then we come back and then do Burning Star through its entirety. And so these kids were just waiting for that, and we're thinking like, man, after the second song, and they kept screaming Burning Star, I'm like, you got a long ways to wait, dude, all right? So I had to tell this one guy in the front, we're here to play some new songs from the new album, and everything else we've done. Are you okay with that? He was like, yeah, but I really want to hear Burning Star. And everyone starts laughing. I go, well, you're going to have to wait about another 50 minutes, okay? So just keep
Fantastic.
on.
That's phenomenal. You guys are also playing with Queensryche. So how geared up are you? I mean, I'm sure you guys must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, dude, now you're talking really 1986 right there, dude. Now
Right.
that would, if we'd have did stuff like that back in the day, then we probably wouldn't be where we're at right now.
Hmm.
So we just didn't have the opportunities. A lot of people don't understand, and then of course I hate the same question over and over again, but the upset and go, oh, come on,
Right.
don't ask me that stupid question.
Hmm.
But then again, curiosity kills the cat, when people
True.
go, and you listen to a band like Helstar, and if I didn't know you, and I'm not, if I wasn't sitting here drinking a beer with you next to, right here in this sports bar,
Hmm.
people just go, man, I have to tell you this, but the thought does cross my mind, and it's bothering me that what are you doing here? You should be like huge,
Right. Right.
and and you're the last person that wants to hear that because deep inside, you should be huge. You're
Absolutely.
right.
I agree.
I don't want to sound like an over egotist person, but I know that yes, the music that I have produced in the years is more than enough to have made me bigger than Megadeth times 5.
Hmm.
But what it comes down to is being at the right place at the right
Right
time,
time. Exactly.
man. The right lawyer, the right everything that comes along with it, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, besides it being all about the talent, it's a very, very political, shitty world
Environment.
in the
Exactly. I agree with that.
media, and that's all it comes down to. And if you weren't you weren't studying the right politics at the time when this shit took off, then you're fucked. you
Absolutely.
know,
I agree with
and
that.
they never give you for that. So the better you get as the years go by, and the bigger these other bands get, and that circle of politicians that ran that business and still run that business, you would think that they would eventually go, hey, he's getting better, he's learning the business, but nah, you screwed up 20 years ago, dude, so I'm not about to help you again. But anyways, you're
Absolutely.
doing a good job. Music sounds great, James, but I can't help you get big.
That's
I'm
that's true.
and
I agree with that.
that's the weirdest feeling in the world.
I agree with
You
that.
know?
It's the same
Yeah.
feeling. I mean, there are many bands which I feel could have been on a different level, in this particular decade. Looking back at when they started in 80's and how the other bands are, I kind of feel that you lose the artistic integrity during, while getting into that famous zone. You
Yeah.
lose the artistic integrity. You basically compromise with the material.
Exactly.
So
Right. And
that's where the bands, get some who want to continue doing what they love, definitely belong to a category where Helstar is. And then we have other bands who kind of manipulate stuff. That's where the other ones lie.
Yeah, that's true. See, and so I think if we would have got that success, we wouldn't be writing an album like The Wicked Nest anymore.
Absolutely.
So it's one or the other. It's a double-edged sword, you know. So we still have the freedom to write, the best music we want, that we want, not what the label wants, what we want. I mean, we haven't. Matter of fact, the day since we've got signed to AFM, they've never heard any demos, and we don't do demos anymore. We're like, if you don't have trust in what we're going to always deliver a killer album, then you need to drop us and let us go somewhere else, because
True.
we're not about to waste our time doing demos. That was like, oh yeah, before you write the new album, I don't want to hear some demos and make sure, I just want to make sure you guys are right. You know what? Shut the fuck up. Let us write a record. All right, go relax.
Exactly.
It's going to be the best product on your fucking label for the year. All right, so don't worry about it.
In that sense, I feel AFM is really good because I hear a lot of bands every year from their platform, which gives me an opportunity to explore. And the music which comes out for this label is phenomenal. It's just that people don't seem to appreciate that sort of a music.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird catch to it all. But what's odd is that we find that in foreign countries, in the more foreign the country, the more a band like Helstar is admired.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is about it, but it seems like this is like the second or third time I've gotten requests from interviews from that side of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I find that very. I find that very amusing, and then also in Israel there's a big Hellstar cult following, and it doesn't surprise me because it just seems to me that the music it kind of fits belonging over there in that side, just
Right.
something about it, the name and everything, and but I mean it's I know that there's a big demand for metal now over there in that side of the world, and I know bands are going over there, and I'm just going like,
Exactly.
man, how do we get aboard that ship? I'd love to go over there,
That seems to be the question because there are many bands who definitely want to come to this part of the world, but it's just basically right time and the right opportunity, maybe. So we're just being patient enough. Okay, we're gonna wait
Yeah.
till these guys come over here.
Yeah.
That's the only way. So what about the touring leg for the Helstar this year after the Queensryche? So what other shows are you guys playing?
Well, let's see. After that, we've got we'll close the year with another headlining show here in Houston. We always do that at the end of the year,
Right.
and then the new year, February. I've been in the talks with a promoter that is really working hard on getting Helstar to Australia and New Zealand for the first time
Oh, fantastic.
ever. So that would be great, So, and then there's a guy who's been contacting me from South America who wants us to finally go down there as well too. So, so 2015 may see Helstar in South America and
Australia.
New Zealand, Australia, yeah, and we'll bypass Europe for once. But that's okay. We Europe would do it every year. I mean, so it's not a
Right.
big deal. We can just not go in there one year. Whoopie doo, It's not like it's the end of the world. And of course, it would still be touring on this Wicked Nest, so we wouldn't even be writing nothing new until 2000, at the end of 2015 to maybe release something in 2016 in the fall or something,
Right. That's one fine day. You don't have to find us. We are gonna find you.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Now, I'm going to ask an out-of-box question right now. I don't know whether you'd prefer to answer that or not, but you've seen it all in all these 3 decades. So, what was your first illegal download?
Oh my, you know what? To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I've never done one.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's very rare.
Yeah,
It's very rare. I come
never
across
done
an
one.
artist who says
I
that.
don't even know how to go about doing that.
Hmm.
I'm not very computer literate for one thing, so yeah, I'm totally innocent of that crime. I've done all kinds of illegal things in my life, but I've never downloaded anything. No, you know.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that, James. Fantastic. Now, I'll end the
Yeah.
interview on a very simple question for you to define the wicked nest in just one sentence.
Let me think about that. This wicked nest is the album of the most darkest and brutal truth that runs our world and societies that we must bear and endure. And no matter how you slice it and dice it, you're stuck with it.
Bingo. So, expected you to hit the nail, but you basically gave a double hammer. Thanks a lot, James. Been an honor to have a chat with you. I look forward to see you guys live and keep making good music. I really love that.
Will. Okay, thank you so much, bud.